What's up, YouTube? Number one pretty boy Adustus here, and welcome to another episode of Smashtalk, the show where we talk about Smash while showing off our bodies. I got with me Pizza Dude Man Guy.
I don't show off my body.
Neither do I. I'm incredibly self-conscious.
I am as well.
Before we jump into this, I just wanted to say we keep thinking like, oh yeah, we should mention this, and keep forgetting it every one of these episodes. We both run Discord channels, where we have, or Discord servers, I should say, where we have channels dedicated to Smashtalk. So,
yeah,
if you wanted to be a part of the discussion over there, I've got a permanent link to mine, on my channel page. I'll also put it in the description here. And, how do you want to do yours?
Oh, if you want mine, which is not as active, but if you want mine, just comment in this video, and I'll send you a link.
Yeah. I'm pretty active in mine.
Yours is much more active than mine.
It's my form of socialization. So, we're hot off the presses, straight from Donkey Kong, going into the next, an extremely similar character, Kirby.
Kirby!
Another
big series.
With not that many reps, honestly. Still one more than Donkey Kong. But when you look at the number of games that they've had and how large the series actually is in terms of sales and popularity, it's kind of like maybe he deserves a little more.
You could warrant more. I mean, it has its obvious 3, and honestly, I feel like that's more than I could say for Donkey Kong, because I feel like Donkey Kong has more that are like, yeah, this should definitely be in, where Kirby has all the ones you would really expect. But there are lots of characters that come really, really close, and the series is so big, and some of those characters are so popular, so much discussed these days.
Yeah, that's the main thing with Kirby, is that as a series from game to game, the only real constants are just the couple characters that we already have, with a couple of exceptions that are a little notable, but not quite on the same scale as some others that we've seen in other series.
Yeah, especially, 2, or at least 1 that are, like, starting to really become exceptions.
Yeah. Kirby is not exactly a, like, story-heavy series, so its characters are just kind of... Its characters kind of just come and go. Just based on the game. When you have stuff like Epic Yarn, it's like, oh, everything's Yarn, and then that was just there. So some people have said, like, here's your co-op. There's no more Yarn.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, here's your co-op character, Prince Fluff. He's in this game, and then that's it.
The biggest thing, and I think anybody who cares enough about Smash speculation to watch these videos already knows this, the biggest name that comes up for a new Kirby character is Bandana Waddle Dee, or Bandana D, however you want to say it.
Almost everyone I talk to either wants Bandana D as a newcomer, or believes that if Kirby got a newcomer, Bandana D is the obvious #1 choice, and I agree as well.
It's pretty hard to shake it, given that he is now becoming a constantly recurring playable character in the games.
Yeah, it's like he's almost always there now with Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede.
Which is fascinating, because he's still just called, he's just a Waddle Dee, but he's got a bandana on.
Yeah, it's either Bandana D or like Waddle Dee / Bandana.
As opposed to all of the other characters with like actual names and unique designs and everything. It's just a Waddle Dee that has a bandana and a spear. But he is one of the only constant recurring... He's the only constant recurring playable character that isn't playable in Smash.
And, like, the things that you brought up, I do want to say right now, I see those sometimes as, like, things that people will point as things being against Bandana D, and I want to eliminate that right now. Even if Bandana D looks like a regular Waddle Dee and does not have his own special name, he is a solitary, unique, important Kirby character. None of those other things matter. So stop trying to make it sound like it does.
At least as important as characters generally get in Kirby.
Yeah, but like, no, they're not gonna look at Bandana D and go, well, he doesn't really have a name. I guess we can't include him in Smash Brothers.
Well, it's just funny. It's not even. It's less that I'm like, he's not he's too generic to be in Smash. It's that I'm just amazed that this is what became the recurring playable character.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there are people who will say that and then say, and that's why he shouldn't be in Smash Brothers.
Well, no, I think it definitely puts him like on the playing field. But I just think it's so bizarre that they didn't go with like any of the other characters that actually like have had some kind of story importance or have like more like you have so many Kirby characters in the background that have either been villains or just like minor allies that like you could have used.
That you could have used instead of Waddle Dee, but that's the one they chose.
And that's my main thing is it's just like when you look at Bandana Waddle Dee, does anybody look at Bandana Waddle Dee and feel anything? That's my main thing. Does anybody look at Bandana Waddle Dee and just like, oh god, I love that guy, or like, oh man,
there are, and you know
guy.
what, there are. I know at least 2 people who are like that.
Where did people form a connection with this? Where like, how did this happen? I'm just so good. It just amazes me that this is where the Kirby series is.
Yeah, it's amusing. But like I said, regardless of any of how it came about, the fact is that it's true now.
Yeah, he is the playable character that we don't see in Smash for some reason.
And he has enough moves to work.
Oh, absolutely. He
because
fights
like
with
the
a
thing
spear.
is, they take any of like the Kirby copy abilities and give them full move sets in the Kirby games, basically. And that's what Bandana D is. He is the spear ability in a move set, and there's lots to work with. Not just in fighting with a spear, which is unique to Smash Brothers all on its own, but things like throwing multiple spears that spawn out of nowhere, and flying with your spear like a helicopter. The moveset pretty much builds itself with Bandana Waddle Dee and pretty much any Kirby character, to be frank.
Yes, he's totally feasible. And I think that if you go from that angle, he's really the only option. My main thing is, I think that there are some characters that do carry like some sort of emotional weight when it comes to like
in terms of
when
like
it comes to the series. Yeah, I think when you look at like a character like Marx, or when you look at a character like Dark Matter, or you look at even a character like Galactonite, it's still just like these are characters that actually do have more of a defined impact on the series outside of being playable.
Like, this represents something. Oh, Dark Matter, that's the great evil of the galaxy. Oh, Marx, this is I thought was my friend who betrayed me. Oh, this is Galactonite, the most powerful warrior in the universe.
Yeah, so you do have all these characters that, like, could be things. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that Star Allies is working, you can play as these characters now in Star Allies?
Yeah, Star Allies started by, obviously you can play as Kirby, and then you can play as any enemy in the game that you take over, like good old Kirby Superstar. But then you have the Dream Allies, and the game started with Meta Knight, King Dedede, and Bandana D as your Star Allies.
The classic 4, yeah.
Then, as the game has gone on, they've added DLC for other Star Allies, which have been a mix of previous Kirby allies and Kirby villains as well. So, like, I know the very first DLC, I'm missing a character in my mind here, but I know the very first DLC had...
Didn't they have Ricky or Gooey or something?
Well, okay, that's the one I was forgetting. So the first DLC came with, like, Rick, Kine, and Ku all as one character. Those were the allies from, I want to say, Kirby Stream Land 2. My Kirby knowledge is not as deep as some of my others, so I might get some facts wrong. But in a previous Kirby game, Rick, Kine, and Ku were Kirby's allies, and then here they've combined them all into one character, where you mostly play as Rick, he transforms into Ku while flying, he transforms into Kine while swimming. And then that same DLC, I think, or at least within close proximity, they added Gooey, who, if I remember correctly, was like the main co-op partner you had in Kirby Stream Land 3.
Yeah, he was the co-op.
He was,
and he couldn't absorb enemies, but he could suck them up with, well, not suck them, he could lick them up with his tongue and swallow them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it was Kirby without the copy ability.
And then, I believe for the first time ever, the next DLC character they had after that was Marx as a fully playable ally, which I don't think that ever happened before. It was a playable Marx.
It just kind of cements like his importance in the series a bit, I guess.
A lot of people see Marx as one of the more iconic villains of the series. I would
say Marx and Dark Matter are the most iconic.
And, you know, it is interesting because Marx, in a lot of ways, is just a one-off Kirby villain. He was like, okay, he's the villain of Kirby Superstar. And his whole big deal is that Kirby thinks he's his friend, and then he betrays him at the end because it turns out he's manipulating Kirby all along to get ultimate power from Nova.
The classic.
But like I said, in a lot of ways, he is just kind of a one-off villain because that's his only appearance as a major villain. I mean, there's Kirby Superstar Ultra, which is a remake. He's had some background cameo appearances, but never like a boss fight again. And then he's playable in Kirby Star Allies. Meanwhile, I would still point to Dark Matter being the actual like recurring evil of the series.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, it was the main villain of Dreamland 2 and then Dreamland 3 where it revealed its true form. And then I might be getting lost somewhere. No, it's in the original Dreamland 2 it reveals its true form. It starts off by looking like a swordsman and then reveals its true form. And then in 3 you fight Zero, which is like this overarching thing that controls all the dark matters. And then in Kirby 64, you have Zero 2, which is like a more powerful version of Zero. And then ever since then, Dark Matter's kind of fallen off. After Kirby 64, we haven't seen much with Dark Matter. Besides bosses that, like, reference it. Like in Squeak Squad, you had Dark Nebula, but yeah.
But then it comes down to like, okay, but has there been a villain that has reached that level since then? Because for the most part, the way that Kirby games generally work is like, they just kind of think of a gimmick to throw into the standard Kirby gameplay. You think about like Amazing Mirror, Squeak Squad, stuff like that. They're all kind of the same game with just like one twist or one new mechanic. Because of that, most of the cast is usually built around whatever that mechanic is, and they usually, you know, they're there for that game, and then they just kind of disappear afterwards.
Yeah, there's not very many that wind up becoming regulars, which is why Bandana D stands out so much.
It's hard to deny that from that angle, Bandana D is really the only option when you're talking about like a playable character coming in.
Now, we haven't mentioned at all yet the one that I see the second most request for after Bandana D, and that's Magolor.
Oh yeah, that's weird to me.
Here's what Magolor's got going for him. First of all, he was the villain of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, in which even he admits in dialogue in that game that he is pretty much identical to Marx. You think he's your friend the whole game, and then he betrays you. But what is kind of impressive is that since then he has had things ranging from cameo appearances to very important side character appearances in 3, I want to say, Kirby games since then, which is also more than we tend to see with most Kirby characters. And there's a data mine right now that leads us to believe that he is going to eventually be playable in Return to Dreamland. Or not Return to Dreamland, Star Allies.
It wouldn't surprise me if every significant character from the series past eventually finds its way in there.
Except there's still no plans for Dark Matter from the data mine.
Well, Dark Matter would be difficult to do. Well, you could do a swordsman form.
That's the thing, yeah, you do a swordsman form. I mean, that was long, long ago. That's what I proposed for Smash Brothers. It's like, oh, let's have a true Kirby villain by having Dark Matter in swordsman form.
I guess Magolor could stand a chance.
The other thing about Magolor is, according to the Japan popularity polls we've seen, he placed really well.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
What's going on in Japan?
I know. I don't really understand it, but yeah, there is actually a lot of
what is happening in Japan that they like Magolor?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought Magolor was just kind of Marx but lamer. But
yeah, to me he was.
I thought Marx was way more interesting. I was like, oh man, look at all of Marx's weird supernatural powers and like just
Marx had a more interesting design.
Crazy looking he gets when he gets mad.
Yeah,
but,
he had more interesting design. He had more interesting abilities.
I completely 100% agree with that, but for whatever reason, Magolor's the one with the big fandom right now.
The one thing that I think Marx and Dark Matter really have going for them is the emotional appeal. Just because I have a hard time thinking of... Kirby was a different series back then. You know, like back in those earlier games, it felt like it was actually going for more of actually kind of building this world, as opposed to just being entirely like cute and gimmicky, which is still really fun. I still enjoy the games, but like playing through Return to Dreamland, for instance, still felt extremely different than playing Kirby 64. Like Kirby 64, the way that like all the cutscenes with like his allies and everything, the stuff with Adelaide, and just also just like the imagery of that final fight, with just that eye like shooting blood at you, like that feels like Dark Matter feels like he has so many like iconic moments that define my connection with the series.
I agree. I completely agree.
Same with Marx, and I think that there's value in that because that's the same kind of thing that like gives Gino his appeal. That's the same kind of thing that gives K. Rool his appeal. Like, K. Rool's not around much more, but he was so iconic back then that, like, it's a lot of sentimental attachment to K. Rool. Like, and stuff that, like, made him, like, an interesting character. Because that stuff matters. Like, it does matter. When you're talking about getting people to want to buy a game, it's about the characters that they're excited for. And, like, Marx and Dark Matter are key reasons why some people have been fans of the series for a long time. I feel like that is something to consider. Either way, basically any character that we talk about from the Kirby series is going to have the potential to be a really interesting, unique character.
Oh, they all are.
Like, I don't think there's really any character, except for maybe somebody like Gooey. Like, just because it's like, he doesn't have hands or feet. He's just a blob with a tongue.
Well, maybe he could just, like, produce those things when he needs them with his goo.
Maybe, but that'd be wildly different than anything we've seen Gooey do.
That's true. That's true.
It's not like Mimikyu, where that's apparently canon for some terrifying reason. Jesus Christ.
Well, what does Gooey need hands for in Smash Brothers?
I guess he could just ledge grab with his tongue.
Yeah, and he could like grab with his tongue like Yoshi does. Just do everything with his tongue.
But the main thing is, like, how are you gonna build an A moveset entirely out of tongue lashes? I don't know, man.
Well, you could have him do like quick transformations, like dash attack being a fireball.
I think you got more to do with Rick than you do with Gooey.
You think so?
I think so. A hamster-based moveset? I'm sorry.
What, Overwatch already did it, right?
Yeah. You just give him a mech. Kirby is so hard to predict just because it is one of those series that just doesn't have... Because it's so narratively loose, because it doesn't really have like a lot of like, here's the story and the characters that matter. You've got Bandana D has clear, obvious importance because of his role as a playable, like, recurring character.
And that's kind of the thing that all the Kirby arguments kind of get back to, is like, all of this could happen, but it would all happen after Bandana D.
And the thing is, like, there's a lot of good options. I'd be happy with, honestly, any of them. The one thing that we're not a huge fan of is Galactonite as an Echo.
Oh, really? I really like that idea. But a lot of people... First thing. A lot of people pointed out to me, which I did forget, is that there is not only a Galactonite costume for Meta Knight already confirmed, but it's, like, a really good costume. Like they really try to make it look like Galactonite. So it's like, yeah, you're right. I did forget about that. That's the thing I was going to say,
is like, I would rather they don't even spend the time making an Echo for Kirby, because he has enough characters where it's like, put the Echo in a different series that doesn't have this many characters could be.
But I also I do particularly like Galactonite because I feel like he is, like we talked about, like a representative thing. Like, oh man, Galactonite, he's in this lore, he is the strongest warrior in the galaxy. Whenever he appears, it's like, oh shit, it's Galactonite.
Has anybody asked for Dynablade?
No.
Okay.
I mean, great character, but...
Better stage boss. Dude, like, City Trials.
Oh, yeah. No, that would be awesome.
Oh, man, if they add an air ride stage where Dynablade is like a stage boss...
Is an obstacle or a stage boss, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
If it functioned like similar to like Big Blue, basically, where you're just like riding like all these starships through the city and then like Dynablade shows up. Oh, that could be so cool. As far as like, what else is there to talk about with Kirby and characters?
Wispy Woods, the most recurring boss.
It still amazes me that, like, with all of the creative characters and ideas and concepts that get brought into these Kirby games and then dropped, The one that they're just like, no, we need to bring this guy back, is just a fucking tree.
It's just a tree. Well, the other one too, besides Wispy Woods, is Kracko.
I don't know. It's like such a... I do think Bandana D has the best chance.
Oh yeah, clearly.
I think from there, it's like really a toss-up of like, okay, do you prioritize the Japanese popularity polls? Do you prioritize the just emotional attachment and iconic moments in the series? Because I don't know. I don't feel like anything particularly impressive happened in Return to Dreamland. Like, it was a fun game, but like...
Now, I mean, what I can say is, I kind of just played through Return to Dreamland. I guess a lot of people did have an experience, because like you can talk to Magalore throughout the whole game and like really get to know him and like make it feel like, oh wow, this guy's my new ally. And then when he betrays you, it's more surprising.
That's fair.
That wasn't my experience because I never talked to him. I did the whole game 4-player co-op, and so I was always like, all right, guys, let's go to the next place now.
I just want a Kirby 64 re-release.
We didn't really talk about Adeline.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people want Adeline. I don't think it's gonna happen. I would like it.
I don't think so either,
I just don't think she has priority over all these other options that we have.
No way. She was added to Star Allies with Ribbon as her flight method, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and she would definitely have a unique moveset, and it'd be cool, and I personally really like the character. Like, Kirby 64 was one of my defining gaming experiences of my childhood. So, like,
I don't know if this sounds weird or not, I actually kind of would have preferred if back in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, instead of Bandana Waddle Dee, they just started using Adeline as like the fourth co-op character.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, Bandana Waddle Dee is here now, but like, there's all these characters that could have been instead.
Yeah, that's the one that was specifically going through my mind when you were saying that.
Could have been Adeline, could have been Galactonite, could have been Marx, could have been anybody. Could have been Rick. You have so many actually established characters with personalities and unique moves and like designs and everything. And they're just like, what if we put a bandana on a Waddle Dee and gave him a spear? We won't even give him a name. What was that meeting at the office? I just want to know how it happened.
I can't change the past now.
I know, and it's clearly here, and like he might as well be in. People like him now, but like, why does he exist in the first place? How were they starved for characters?
But also, even though Adeline was in Crystal Shards, so was a Waddle Dee. And so there's a lot of people who speculate that that's the one that eventually became Bandana Waddle Dee, but,
I guess, but until they put it in the lore, I'm not counting it. Well, I don't know if there's really much else to say.
Nah, I think we've said it all.
Bring back Cannonbow.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping at this point, because they're so far in, they'll just bring back every stage.
I think they confirmed that it won't be every stage, but I'm hoping I'm hoping that just means like there won't be two stages that are basically the same thing. Like there won't be multiple Pokemon
that's
stadiums,
like they're not
gonna
do like Corneria and Sector Z.
Yeah. Put Dynablade in as a stage boss on a city trial stage. And
as a newcomer.
Just give us at least one new Kirby character. I think that'd be fine.
Yeah.
If it's gonna be Bandana D, like fine. I've accepted it at this point.
Yeah, I
would like to
Bandana
see him.
D.
I just hate that you made me want to see him.
That's a very good way of putting it. That's how I feel.
I would rather feel this way about any other character, but here we go.
But this is the one I feel about it now.
This is the way I feel.
The way I feel.
I look into his eyes and I'm just like, you do nothing for me, but you should be here. Like that's where I'm at with Bandana D.
That sounds like a very unhealthy relationship.
That's what I'm used to.
Oh, jeez.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna go home to our wives.
You don't have one yet.
Yeah. What are you talking? I just married Leah in Stardew Valley.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like a couple days ago. It's going very well. I force feed her salad every day.
Awesome.
She's a huge fan. For the most part, she doesn't really do anything. She just kind of stands around.
Okay.
It's pretty much how I picture her to go in real life.
Yeah. Jesus.
Stardew Valley is the most accurate representation of relationships in the world. Every day, I'd get up, just go to her house, force a salad down her throat. She'd go like, "Oh my god, I love this!" And within a year, She wanted to marry me.
We'll see you guys next time for more
See you
Smash
guys,
Brothers.
See you guys next time. Go to your loved ones. Give them salad. And join us for the next Smash Talk. Bye.